Guys, please hit the subscribe button for me. Please like, please comment, please share with your friends. Let's help get this information out there. I love doing this. I'd like to get it out there a little bit more, like some more people to see it. So if you can help me out there, help other people. This information can help a lot of people. And I just try and share the true me, my true feelings, and it's all for the love of Muay Thai, nothing more. So dig up. So I have recorded this over 3 parts. It's just a Q&A. Got you all to write in your questions, and I had so many questions sent in, which I thought was really nice. Shows that I've got some support and people are listening, and I appreciate all that. I hope you enjoy this. It's one of my favorite episodes I've done so far, especially for solo ones. It's definitely my favorite one so far. So I hope you enjoy hearing a little bit about me, and let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks, guys. Enjoy. So most of you who know me will probably, see my family stuff and that as well. I have 2 children, Bella, she's almost 12, and Antoine is 8.5. Both of them train, both of them do interclubs and compete as amateurs, not super regularly, but both are interested in Muay Thai, both are interested in fighting. We yet to see how serious they want to take it. I think either of them could do really good with, if they choose to really go balls deep in it and chase some goals, like find a why, I guess. Antoine's decided to step up his training a bit, and here he is. He's decided to step up his training a little bit, and he's doing some extra sessions each week. Bella now spars, with the fighters each week on a Friday, just to gain some more experience. Looking at getting them both matched in Thailand in August. But right now it's a fun thing, and it's, not an overly committed thing. So I guess we'll see in the future how excited they get over it. So how many fights did I have, and what gym did I train out of in Thailand? So I spent almost 10 years there. I was in a few different gyms due to moving location. I was living in Koh Samui in the beginning. I trained at WMC camp, and then I couldn't afford that gym, and they weren't doing sponsored athletes with people at my level. So I went to my air gym, which no longer exists. That was in Chaweng. And I was allowed to fight and then pay them post-fight. And then I moved my next training, next gym and serious training was in Bangkok, where at first I was at Rompo Gym. I spent about 2 years there, which is now Muay Thai Academy, in the car park for Rompo Mansion. Then I moved to Sochit Lada, which is not far. It's a walk from Rompo. I live next door to Rompo, so I went to Sochit Lada, which ended up changing its name later to Windy Sport Gym or something along those lines. And then I moved to 96 Penang Gym, which I spent the last 3.5 years before retirement. I ended up having a couple of fights at elite boxing once I moved there, because that's where I was a trainer. I sort of got the offer to go there to end my career and to become a trainer and manage the gym for a while. I was the boss of the gym for a little bit. So I kind of had, I think it was maybe, while based out of there, I had probably my last 4 or 5 fights. But yeah, I never fought for the gym as such. I was just kind of booking fights. I'd go there by myself and someone would corner for me, and then I'd come back to Bangkok. 2007, I moved to, there used to be a stadium called Bangkok Stadium near Rama 9. And that's where I met Kruman Op. I moved there as the eventual owner of Elite Boxing was running a gym there with Songchai Promotions. So Songchai owned the stadium. They were having fight shows on live TV every Saturday out of there. I moved there for a period of time. Then I came back to Australia for a few months. By the time I got back there, the gym had shut down, unfortunately. And my trainer there was from Lukbanyai, which was made famous in a movie called Chokdi with Dita Diafat, who was a big name fighter back then. He fought Ramon Decker and fought all the big name Thais and stuff back then. He made that gym famous from the movie, but yeah, my trainer at Bangkok Stadium was from that gym. So when I got back, I contacted him and said, oh, what should I do? He goes, I'm back fighting if you want to come and train here. So I moved there for a little bit, but I was the second or third foreigner to have ever trained there, and they really didn't accept me in there. The boss loved me, old Joe, and really beautiful guy actually. He loved me, but the minute he'd turn his back, I was getting spat on and getting beaten, and yeah, they weren't very nice to me. So that's where I decided to go back to near where I was living and get back to training at. I went back to Sochitlada at that stage. Yeah. My total number of fights, it took me a good few years of retirement before I worked out how many fights I'd had. Didn't really keep that good account. In the early days, obviously I did, and then after I stopped fighting in 2007, I came back in 2009. I stopped really counting. I didn't really know what was going on. I was just fighting for the sake of it, and it took me 4 or 5 years of counting back and remembering another fight and then counting back to realise how many fights I'd had. So I had 44 Muay Thai fights, 4 boxing fights, and then I did a pile of show fights, like where you'll see on YouTube, I've put some up where it's in like the bar. I did that. I did the walking street ones in Pattaya. I did a couple in Phuket as well, just off of Bangla Road. They used to have a ring there as well. I just jumped in and then begged in the crowd for money. I was pretty lucky because I spoke Thai. Back then it was a bit of a rarity. The Thais were nice to me and they used to let me beg because it meant, more money coming into my pocket as well and taking some out of them as such by begging from the crowd. But yeah, it was, thinking back, it's quite cool, but at the time it was pretty rough. And then doing these exhibition fight things in the bars, the Thais were trying to knock me out nearly every time. I had to literally fight to survive, whereas, when they were against each other, they were just looking after each other. So including those, I probably had somewhere between 50 and 100 of those as well. But don't count them in your record because they're not official fights. So I'm just going to say I had 48 fights. When did I realise what Muay Thai had done for my life? I realised very quickly, and I realised what it was going to do really quickly when I first started training, and I went home and told my mum I was going to do it for the rest of my life. I was 20 years old and not in a very good space mentally, and physically I hadn't done any exercise in probably 6 years. So I realised very quickly that it could be the thing that changes me. Within weeks I felt more confident. I started gaining self-confidence and stuff. And then after 12 months, I had my first fight. As soon as I started training to fight though, and I was trying to prove myself to Sam Benetti that I wanted to fight, I stopped drinking and stopped partying and stuff. And that was probably my biggest wake-up call. And I was like, hang on, this has got some power that makes me want to do something which I've never been willing to do before. So I realised very early that it was saving my life. I probably didn't realise just how much until I got sober, 100% sober years later. And I realised that all the lessons that I'd had from the beatings I was taking, from the stress of fighting and all that sort of stuff, all those things had got me to become sober. So yeah, I'd say I started realising it very quickly, and then it was after retirement, so probably 10 years ago now, I realised just how much it had done for me. And I look at my life now and it's pretty obvious what it's done for me. So Just sitting here, I picked up the kids early from school today and taken them to the park. They're just playing on the playground. I'm sitting back recording this, get to watch them, I get to listen to them, having a good time, and reminds me of what sobriety done for me and what, you know, sobriety was given to me due to learning how to be sober through fighting. So yeah, just all I can say is thank you, Muay Thai, and that's why I'm so grateful, and I'm trying to give back to Muay Thai all the time. Different background, same person. So what style of fighter were you and what techniques came easy to you? I started in a very kickboxing style gym, still fighting like Muay Thai rules and learning like all 8 weapons, but it was like my trainer, still to this day, he's a proud freestylist, so he's learnt lots of different styles and kind of blended them. My falling in love with, you know, traditional Muay Thai started when it started before I went to Thailand. I started watching real Muay Thai, and then I went there and instantly fell in love with it. But yeah, I would say for me, I was weirdly for 6'2", but I was a leg kicker. I guess that came from the early days of practicing it so much, and then I just went to Thailand. My first couple of fights, I stopped them with leg kicks. So leg kicks were really easy for me. I was quite good at kneeing, I just didn't do it much. And my elbows were quite good. I actually quite had everything. I just didn't have clinch fitness, even though I was out of a clinching gym. I think it was more mental than anything though. But yeah, I'd probably say leg kicking was a pretty common thing for me. I could do it without using much energy. I could do it when I was exhausted. I had sharp, accurate hands, not powerful, but accurate, which would give me stoppage wins and stuff. And, you know, I cut a few guys, and I would definitely say my weakest point was probably like kneeing, which is what I'm good at now, funnily enough. But I think in a different time, in, you know, a generation where we actually could learn a little bit more for social media, and, you know, the time we're in now, if I was a fighter, I think I'd probably be a female guy, because that's what comes most natural for me. And even back then it did. I'd be very reactive to what they're doing. I just didn't know how to fucking play the game very well. And I didn't have the money to be paying trainers, so I just used to give a bit of a tip to the gyms, and I had no one really taking me under their wing to teach me a whole lot. So yeah, I'd say these days I would have been a female guy. Back then I was pretty random. I was pretty ugly to watch, actually, but, you know, that's part of history. When was the last time I had to pivot, change direction, my approach to life, family, work, whatever? Man, I'm constantly having them. Probably a big one for me was the social media thing. Probably about 18 months ago now, I committed to doing 2 to 3 videos a week on YouTube and making it a consistent thing. It's not really what I would do naturally. You know, I'm the kind of guy who just would sporadically do stuff, and when I wanted to do videos, I'd do them. When I had something come to my head, I'd film it and I'd quickly put it up, that kind of shit. But aside from that, the other one would probably be another technologically based one, would be starting the system at the start of the year for the gym to be able to, you know, the gym management system. I never thought I'd do anything like that either. It's a pretty big one for me, because I'm a tech tard. Even as a trainer, my wife's pulled me up recently, and I need to take on some of her advice. I think it's a constant thing. Extreme pivots or changes, man, I can put them down to a few moments in life, like starting Muay Thai, coming back to Australia, quitting drugs, that kind of stuff. but there's constant pivots. And when I say like my trajectory, you know, I'm still heading towards the same goal, which isn't necessarily I can do one thing to get to that goal, but I've got a goal to go to a certain place in my life. No one really knows what it is except for me, I guess. And even that slightly changes from time to time, but I just try and align everything I'm doing with heading towards that goal, which, you know, it's goal setting is not easy, but it's something that is needed. And especially in the world we're in now where shit's pretty shit, honestly, like the lack of control over our own lives we have, financial security, knowing that, you know, after what happened with the scamdemic and stuff, knowing we could go into another lockdown at any minute because they can choose to and everyone will fall for it, that kind of stuff. It has definitely made my goals a little bit harder to set, not reach, but set, because I need to set something that's realistic, and I'm quite aware of where the world's going, and I've tried to set my goals a little bit shorter term now, just to make sure that while I do have this little amount of freedom, I can enjoy it to the best of my ability. How long was my professional career? So I didn't have a long career. I had my first fight ever in 2003, had my last fight ever in 2012, won 2003 at the end of the year, 2012 at the start of the year. I had my first fight, didn't have my next fight until 10 months later, then didn't have another fight until 12 months after that. Then I started putting a few together. Then 2007, I'd only had 13 fights, but I had to stop, and I thought that was it for me. I never thought I'd fight again. 2009, I started fighting again. Smashed from, so I got to Thailand full time in mid-2009, and I started racking them up a little bit. Started 2010, I got a little bit sick. I've always suffered from chronic fatigue syndrome since I was a teenager, and I got sick at the start of 2010. I needed a pretty long break. So I had 10 months off that year. And then end of 2010 through to the beginning of 2012, I racked up an absolute bucket load of fights. So between 2009 and 2012, I had 35 odd fights. And that was with a 10-month break in the middle of that. So yeah, it was a fair old whack of time. Fair old whack of fights in a short period of time, I should say. But my whole fight career pretty much was over a 9-year period with 3-4 years inactivity in that. So yeah, I did 48 fights in pretty much a genuine 5-year period sort of thing. The benefits of having a Thai wife. Man, this could get some hate, but those who know me know I don't really give a fuck about that either. I'd probably say I'm a traditionalist, and you're more likely to find a traditionalist in a Thai woman. I'm not what you'd consider sexist. I'm what you consider sexist in today's world because it's absolutely fucked. But I like a woman who knows her place because I like to be a man who knows my place. I think the dudes have lost their value in this world, and it only started through feminism that guys lost their direction because we always knew what we had to do. We had to be the breadwinners. We didn't have a choice. And no matter how we made that work, we made it work. Whereas now, you know, we play second fiddle a lot of the time. Feminism is a lie, and we've gone from being, I think everyone should be able to do what they want to do. Girls want to work, they want to work. Unfortunately, most people have just fallen for the bullshit of the elites wanting more taxpayers. It ain't about personal goals. And then, you know, I think most women have lost their value as well. They don't see the value in producing children, raising children, and it's showing with what children are coming out now. So I think finding someone from a country like Thailand, one, you get good food. My missus works really hard, and she still prioritises food. I do things for, like in the house that aren't traditionally a man's job, and that's because I don't mind doing particular jobs. I do the laundry, we've got the kids sorting out the clothes, and she's very much on getting the kids to help do the chores, do the things that need to be done. Bella's cooking and cleaning with my wife regularly. My son is doing woodwork and all that kind of stuff, and I think one of the most important things for me is the fact that my wife knows the importance of being a man, the importance of being a woman. On top of that, I get someone who takes pride in, because Thais are about making face, so she wants to make face in the right ways, which is she wants to be making tasty food. She wants to have a clean house. She wants me to be happy, like I want her to be happy. But she's not selfish like many people can be. She has her selfish side, but everyone needs that. I think that's part of, weaponizing your personality in a positive way. But family comes first. It's probably the number one thing. Family comes first, and the home comes first, which is super important. And it seems that something, people are paying someone else to clean their house so they don't have to do the job that is needed. And call me sexist, call me whatever you want, but I probably pay more respect to my wife than most people I know, so you can probably eat your own words. Okay, so I got 3 from my sister-in-law. What's my dream 4x4 holiday? I would love to do Simpson Desert. I'd really love to do that at some point. I do need to do a couple more trips with my car since getting it back after crashing it, just to know that it's gonna get me through. One of my dream trips was actually Road to Beachport along the beach, and I've done that a couple of times now, which is great. The other one would probably be going up Cape, doing from Cairns right up to the tip, going to the northernmost point of Australia. So I don't care about doing the hardcore tracks and all that kind of stuff. And I'd like to go sit there at Gunshot and watch cars going down there, and I'd like to go to all the spots, like Full Drive 24/7 I watch a lot, and they go to some pretty cool spots. I'd like to just go and sit and watch other people doing all the extreme shit. I'm not, I started doing a little bit of that stuff, but it's not really me. Like, I like going to difficult places where you need a four-wheel drive just to throw out a swag and have a fire and cook up some camp tucker, and that's more my kind of getaway, more than the extreme stuff. What careers would I like for my kids? Man, this is huge, because obviously you want your kids to be happy, you want your kids to be doing something that is for them, that makes them happy. I don't think there's going to be a lot of career options by the time they're old enough to be getting careers. I think, with the introduction of AI and just the collapse of the economy, which is coming, be ready for it. It'll be interesting to see what the world will be after all that, after the collapse of the economy and they restart it with your digital currencies and your digital IDs and all that sort of stuff. I'm guessing there's not going to be a whole lot of freedom to do much. But ultimately you want your kids to be doing something that they want to do. Like, I was in a family where, I got a promotion in a job in a call center, and it was the happiest day of my mum's life. But I wasn't really doing what I wanted to do. I was doing something to keep them happy. So I don't want to be that guy for my kids. They will be, there's things like that. I'm making them do Muay Thai till they have another sport that they're competing in competitively. They're going to do Muay Thai. They're going to train Muay Thai anyway, at least until they're 18. Then I'd like to offer them a job to work for us in the gym and make some pocket money, so they don't have to go work for the man and some grub who actually doesn't give a fuck about them. But ultimately, man, they're two very different kids. Man, I'd love to see Bella go down the art sort of pathway. She's interested in like design and stuff. She wouldn't mind doing like clothing design and that sort of stuff. So if that's what she wants to do, then we make that happen. Antoine, he likes working with his hands. He likes to do manly stuff. So who really knows? Ultimately, I want them to be happy, and me being hard on them as I am, I'm setting them up for the real world. I'm not being a soft cock to them, and I can genuinely say to my sister-in-law and my brother that they're the same. They're tough on their kids, and it's what they need. They need to be. They've got 2 boys. I've got a boy and a girl. I'm teaching my girl to be a girl and my boy to be a boy. If I'm being honest, I'm teaching my girl to be a woman, and I'm teaching my boy to be a man. I don't care about their being kids thing. You're a child to learn how to be an adult, and that's where society went the most wrong, is when they're like, just let them be kids. Sorry, we're kids to learn how to be adults. Where the world actually worked, it was kids playing around things that had to be done. So assisting dad do something, assisting mum do something, and then they had their playtime. So I'm trying to still do that lifestyle with my kids, which isn't easy in a world where all their friends are losers and all they do is play, and they're airheads and they've got absolutely fucking nothing preparing them for life. But yeah, my ideas and what other people's ideas are different, and I'll say what I'm doing is harder than what most people are doing, because it's easy just to let your kid be a shit cunt. What's the biggest character trait I appreciate in other people? And I'm gonna fucking say this, I'm a little bit entitled being in the position I'm in and stuff, but I appreciate people who know where they came from and know how to give back. Some people are very selfless, but they're not selfless with everyone. Like, I'll say Jasper is one of those people, super selfless. Like, he'll just do whatever. If I need him tomorrow, he would be here tomorrow. And the trait that I then need to be really strong in myself with is don't take advantage of people like that, because it's not appreciating them when you just ask them to help you all the time. And because then you've then got to be giving back. So, you know, he helps me with something, I've got to then help him with something. And it's not a chore. It's the kind of thing you want to do. That's the exact trait in people. It's wanting to help someone because they've helped you, or be willing to help someone, and if they don't help you, then you don't help them again. If they don't help you back, you don't do things just so people do things for you, but you do them because you want to help someone, but that person then technically owes you something, so they should be helping you back. So that'll be that trait. Do I think my style could have ever been adapted to MMA? Nah, definitely not. There was a period of time there when I first came back to Australia where I was considering fighting MMA just for a payday sort of thing. Not really just even for a payday, just for something different. Before I realised how much I hated MMA. So, my style is way too upright and too counter. If I was against like a really shit striker or something, maybe, but yeah, I don't think my style of Muay Thai, especially how I was after I retired with like becoming quite female, I don't think it really would have worked in MMA whatsoever. And it was like a 5-minute thought anyway, so not really what I'm into. I like this one. What's my favourite sport aside from Muay Thai? I like motorsport. I like watching drag racing and circuit racing as well. A bit of a fan of drag racing though, and basketball. I like NBA. I watch, the last few weeks I haven't, but normally I watch all the highlights from most days of each game. But live, I can watch any sport really. I like playing golf, believe it or not. But I can watch anything live. I like atmosphere, so I can watch anything live really. How did Pang and I meet? We had mutual friends. She was already living in Australia, So the question was it Muay Thai? I'm like, and I'm like, no, because I taught her Muay Thai. Before me, she'd never done Muay Thai. Everything she started, like her whole starting was through me, what I learned. I remember her going to Thailand and her trainer in Thailand asking who she'd learnt from, and when they didn't believe that it was from a foreigner, which was quite a compliment. But yeah, we had mutual friends. She'd heard about me from this friend of ours. I'd seen her for years. I'd taken notice of her because of how pretty she is and stuff well before we got together. And I used to spot her out when I was at the temple and that. And then she went up the river. It was on an Easter weekend. She went up the river with some friends of mine. And I commented on a photo that she was in that my friend had posted. And then she commented back and we started chatting. So it was like a Facebook thing. We started talking on Messenger. And then she sent me a dick pic, which I thought was interesting. I was like, oh, this is my kind of girl. She's got a nice big shlong. Nah, but seriously, we started talking and yeah, it was a pretty quick process from there on. And I fell in love with Bella originally, and spending time with Pang and her, having the patience to put up with someone like me, I'm fucking hard work, definitely made me fall in love with her. And honestly, the best decision I ever made was to stop being a fucking loser and commit to being a man that she needed. And yeah, she helped me make the best version of me. And you know, obviously I'm not perfect, but I can thank her for getting me to where I am today. Favorite country to fight in, and is there any country you didn't fight in or train in but you would like to? Japan was cool to fight in, as was China. I found there's just big fanfare there. They're really big on, they want signatures. You got to sign all their book. They bring out a whole book for the show, and you got to sign everything, and it's quite cool. Japan, you're an instant superstar, even if you know one. Let alone if you're someone like Chad Collins, who's smashing it over there. They just love it so much. Somewhere where I'd like to have fought, I'd like to have fought in the Netherlands, even though it was very kickboxing and still is. It was just, back then it was such a huge place for combat sports. And I could probably honestly say I wish I fought in Australia a bit more. As for training, I think I trained in the best country for Muay Thai, so not really. Though in the early days, I probably would have liked to have done the Netherlands as well, being, I come from like a more of a kickboxing style gym. It probably would have suited me a little bit in the early days. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with, where I got to fight and how my career sort of went. I wasn't really much of a fighter, so I made it work to become a good trainer. What's the worst thing I did in Thailand to survive? Fuck, man, I did a lot of stupid shit. Drug trafficking, selling drugs just in Bangkok. Probably be the most stupid thing I did, just due to the consequences for what I was doing. Aside from that, I don't know, I don't have a lot of regrets in life, and one of them is one of my regrets is how many women I've slept with. And I did something that a lot of people don't know, and whatever, I got no secrets. I did porn. I used to get flown away from Thailand to another country and do that sort of stuff. I also was a sugar daddy. Not a sugar daddy, it was the other way. I had a sugar mama. Had a woman who she was quite wealthy and used to pay me for some action. I kind of laugh about it. It's not healthy. It's not a healthy thing to do in life, but it was, at the time, it is what it is, I guess. I did what I had to do. I probably should have just fought more. Something spiritual about me. A lot of people don't know that I meditate most days. Not a lot. I used to meditate a lot. I'm talking like hours per day. The yunt thing is a small part of my spiritual journey, and I would say the last few years I've definitely gone a bit astray with just how seriously I take my spirituality, like just how much commitment I give it. But I've lived in forest monasteries in Thailand, very remote, only eating the food that was left over from the monks in the morning. I didn't get to have, buy food and that sort of stuff. But I used to meditate for long periods of time, and can honestly say it was an amazing part of my life as well, with a lot of meditation, and something I definitely need to bring back into my life. Aside from that, that's probably about it. I still have a good relationship with the monks here in Adelaide. I still go to visit them. I ordained as a monk here, so yeah, I still go to visit the monks sometimes and reminisce. But yeah, there's not a lot to be said aside from that, I guess. There's a request for me to sing a song. Honestly, like I still sing to myself a fair bit, but my voice isn't really there anymore. I don't practice enough. I don't work on singing techniques, and I yell too much because of the Muay Thai thing and stuff. So I'd probably say, nah, it ain't gonna happen. But this person's heard me sing, and I'd probably sing in front of them because they're a good friend of mine, and yeah, they're pretty chilled about it all. So there you go, guys. Learning a little bit more about who Pinky is. I want to start doing these every now and then. I actually really enjoyed this. Obviously had to do it over 3 parts, and making some time over the last few days has been a bit shit. So, my wife took me away for the weekend. I've had some health issues, and still working on them. Still feeling pretty average, but yeah, my missus took me away for the weekend with the kids, so we had a nice little weekend up in the hills, and I didn't want to be doing my work while I was there. But yeah, so done over 3 parts, and I really enjoyed it, and I'd like to do it all again. So maybe give it a few months, and I'll do another one. And I don't mind if people ask the same questions because they didn't listen to this one or whatever. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understand a little bit more about who I am as a person. I'm just a human. I'm just another guy who I'm pretty lucky. I've landed on my feet after all the bullshit I've done and made a good name for myself. So I appreciate all your support, and yeah, see you all again next week. Cop and Carp.